The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now, your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Walker, and Kyle Yeomans.
It wasn't exactly how they drew it up, but either way, it is still a Victory Monday here from the Star in Frisco. In Week 14 of the NFL season, the Dallas Cowboys come out on top over the Houston Texans, 27-23, and we'll break it down for you here over the next 45 minutes from the Star in Frisco, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, alongside Patrick No-C Walker, Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Fantastic. Well,
everybody got their heart rate down a little bit. Is it back down to resting rate at the moment?
I was able to. It took a while last night, but I was able to get it smoothed out.
There was a nervous energy from the middle of the first quarter, really up until the end of the game. I mean, until the pick was made by Israel Mukuamu, a.k.a. Trayvon Diggs, whoever you ask. When that pick was made, that was finally the decompression after what was a 3-hour-long nerve fest all the way through, because as soon as Kevontae Turpin muffed the punt, it looked like it was going to get dicey. And you thought the Cowboys would pull it out. You thought they would pull away at some point. That didn't necessarily happen, Isaiah.
Nope, didn't happen. That's what happens when you show up and think that you just handle anybody based upon records or based upon your skill sets. I mean, this is the NFL. This is professional athletes, the best in the world. There's only so many guys at each position. There's only so many coordinators. You're going to face the best, every week. And you have to bring your A game no matter what situation you think that you're walking into. And, the Texans punched Dallas in the mouth. And unfortunately, it takes a lot to try to get yourself out of a rut. That's why you show up and you start fast. Because if you don't, then you give teams confidence and then they can stick around. And then you find yourself in a situation. And luckily, they was able to find themselves out of one just because of bad quarterback play on the part of the Texans. But everybody knows that Dallas should have lost that game. They should have lost that game. Had that quarterback not gone the wrong way, they probably would have lost.
And a couple other things.
But specifically, that down there on the 3-yard
the goal line stand.
Yeah, I don't know that the Cowboys mentally were overlooking the Texans as much as it was just good old-fashioned mistakes. Just good old-fashioned mistakes. I can guarantee you that, Turpin, after he calls that fair catch, he's not thinking, oh, this is the Texans. No, just good old-fashioned mistakes. And then what do the Texans do? They go down and they get a touchdown off of that. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Texans had 14 or 17 points off of Cowboys turnovers.
14. It should have been 21 because they had the ball inside the 5-yard line.
So, the Cowboys, we talked about it, miscue, shooting yourself in the foot. They shot themselves in the foot, and that's how you allow teams that you're better than to remain in the game, and that's what we saw. And it's something that the Cowboys are going to have to be consistent in cleaning up, because the only reason they were able to escape, and kudos to a 98-yard drive and Dak Prescott and Dalton Schultz and Noah Brown and Jason Peters. And we'll get to that.
I saw your tweet on Yahoo News last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
Which one?
His tweet about Jason Peters giving him his gold jacket. They posted it on an article on Yahoo
News. Give that man his gold jacket in the post game. And kudos to Joe Philbin and Coach McCarthy for making that decision. But it took that to overcome, errors that the Cowboys made. So again, I don't believe it was as much that they overlooked the Texans. I don't believe they did, and I don't believe that the Texans quarterbacks played poorly. They made a poor decision ultimately that helped cost them the game. But they really attacked that young Cowboys secondary outside of Trayvon Diggs, and kudos to Kelvin Joseph for making up for it with that huge PBU on that third down.
Yep.
But prior to that, he was getting targeted. Talk about the 30-plus yard gainer that ended up being a field goal, I believe, for the Texans. So be it him or Nashawn Wright or whomever the case may be, they in their two quarterback set, which was weird, but they had nothing to lose.
No.
But between Driscoll and Davis Mills, they really just attacked underneath and told those young guys, you're going to have to step up. So Lovie Smith had a plan, and they were executing that plan, but it wouldn't have mattered if the Cowboys had played clean football.
No, I agree with you completely. And I like the way you kind of set that up because, one, and this is kind of a sidebar, but I thought Kelvin Joseph and Deron Bland played good football.
Right.
Going back and watching the tape, for the most part, they were solid. They gave up a couple receptions. It's going to happen from time to time. And honestly, the one pass to Chris Moore on the sideline, that was just a ball. That was a dime from Davis Mills in good coverage from Kelvin Joseph. That was a sidebar now over. But the way you set up the fact that offensively there were mistakes, they made the plays when they needed to. Defensively, there were certainly mistakes, but they made the plays when they needed to. Dallas should not have won this game the way that they played for 80% of that ball game. 80% of it, the Texans outplayed Dallas. You could tell they wanted it just a little bit more. It looked like a young college team looking to prove something. And not to compare the Texans to a college team because they are a professional organization. However, it just felt like that type of energy. It was pent-up aggression, trying to get the job done. But Dallas, when they needed to answer, was there when it mattered most, and that's what ultimately ended up being the deciding factor.
They stood tall, particularly the defense, who time and again gave the Cowboys opportunities as far as the offensive side of the ball to get new possessions and go downfield and score. And unfortunately, later in the game, it wasn't until that 98-yard drive that won the game that it happened. I have in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 7 pass breakup by Kelvin Joseph. The Gallimore pass breakup on 3rd and 4, right? The 4th down stop by Gallimore and Barr that came after that tank shutdown on Rex Burkhead. And those two plays alone saved the game. And finally, the Cowboys offense, once they put Peters in to protect on the right side, other than, outside of Josh Ball, that's when they were able to make that drive. But kudos to the defense because they allowed, air quotes, 20 points in the first half. But again, the large majority of that was predicated upon mistakes made by the offense.
14 of those 20 were off of turnovers and short field.
So the defense is really who saved the game long enough, or I should say kept the Cowboys in the game long enough for the offense to figure it out. And thankfully, the offense figured it out. with not a second to spare.
I was about to say, with 41 seconds to spare, and they had to get down the field first.
Yeah, the offense looked like Pepe Le Pew. At least Dak did.
Let's talk about it. What happened?
Second drive forward. First drive was pretty good.
Even that, there were opportunities.
Dak wasn't back surgical, but
Dak was not.
They ran the ball well.
Dak wasn't good.
They did.
He wasn't good.
Oh, he struggled yesterday.
Yes,
until he did.
This is not a first time though.
Yeah.
This has been reoccurring this year, and he's technique-wise, it was shot. I felt like he relaxed on his mechanics and just relied on his arm to try to gun a lot of balls into bad situations. Not only was the velocity turned up substantially from what he normally throws, the location was off. So the velocity is higher and the location is off, bad things happen. Tip balls happen, ball gets on your receivers quicker. They're in bad situations. And I just felt like he just wasn't – I felt like he in his mind, it appeared as if he could just gunsling it. It felt very Brett Favre-ish. Like just I could throw it around. If it touches your hands, you're supposed to catch it type of thing. I'm not going to place it where it should be. I'm not going to place it with the velocity. I'm not going to place it with the loft and it's going to put you in the best situation to be able to come down with the ball. I'm just going to get you to get the ball in your area, figure it out.
A lot of times at home when you're sitting there and you're watching the game, you're thinking about it from like a Madden standpoint where you're playing Madden and if it's an underneath route, you're holding down that B button to try and get it quickly and throw a strike to your receiver, and that velocity is not a bad thing. Why in the real game of football, on the gridiron, why is it different that velocity doesn't always equal good? And last night we saw that with Dak. Or yesterday we saw that with Dak.
There's different balls. I mean, with the velocity that he was throwing with all yesterday, that's the velocity that you typically throw on a timed post route, on a comeback route with tight coverage, or things of that nature. These were slants. Right, these were slant routes that he was throwing those into. There was obviously other routes in there as well, but it just wasn't good. And if you are going to be throwing a ball that hard, then it needs to be on target. And it wasn't on target, and that's why you're starting to see tip balls. There's what, one interception I think he had?
Two.
He had two interceptions. Should have had like 5. Let's call it how it is. Should have been like there's 5. I mean, people are going to try to call my butt. there were about 5 other opportunities that they had to intercept the ball.
Well, defenders had their hands on the football.
Right. So it wasn't good. And these are things that I've brought up in past years. And then I brought them up again today, right? Because he's 39 passes, too many. We've talked about we don't want Dak getting anywhere near 40 passes. And Kellen Moore went back to old Kellen Moore and put him in situations now where Dak's like, okay, it's on me. It's on me to start slinging this thing around. And he's not that guy. I'm sorry. He's not that guy. Is he capable of taking you down there and winning the ball? Absolutely. Dak Prescott is skilled. He's a skilled quarterback. I don't put him in the elite column. I think he's a really good quarterback when he's not forced to have to throw the ball into victory.
Well, yesterday, we can all agree, even if we disagree on that point, elite, not elite. I say he's elite, but elite players have bad games, and it just wasn't a good game. But it was a mixed bag as far as the passing attack for the Cowboys yesterday, because on one note, you'd see, and I'll use 2 plays on the same drive from 2 Dalton Schultz to illustrate my point here. On one, inside slant, Dak throws it slightly behind Schultz. Catchable, but obviously behind. Okay?
Was this early in the game?
Yeah, this was first half.
That thing was hot.
There was one that was just a complete sail.
No,
is this a different one?
No, this is a different
one.
This is Schultz.
I'm thinking of the sail because he would have had a huge play.
This was hot. No, this was Schultz on an inside slant.
Back shoulder.
And it was back shoulder.
I know which one you're talking about.
So it was behind.
You're not
catchable.
No,
behind.
not catchable.
Behind.
You ain't catching that.
But the one that would have been the touchdown that Schultz dropped, that was a dot. That was a frozen rope into triple
he
coverage.
He threw some good balls.
No, my point being that yesterday was a situation where Dak struggled, but he wasn't helped until the 98-yard game winner for the most part by a receiver like Dalton Schultz, for example. So
Schultz stepped up big on that last drive,
and Noah Brown stepped up big, and obviously you had the interception targeting Noah Brown, right? So you had all of these exorcisms of the demons earlier in the game from Noah Brown and that interception, Dalton Schultz and that drop touchdown. But it felt like the Cowboys' offense, passing offense, not the run game, because Tony Pollard and Zeke, they were doing their thing. But the passing attack, it was just unsettled again. And it's not, to Isaiah's point, this is not the first time this season we've seen it unsettled.
True.
So the Cowboys just need to establish the consistency in their passing attack that says, hey, we're not going to get away from the run. We're going to use it to set up the pass. And when they started to get away from the run yesterday, we started to see some disheveled looks in the passing game. So.
One thing I want to bring up and kind of kept Dak off balance. Houston did a good job of disguising coverages yesterday.
Yes, they did.
Going back and looking at it, there was a lot of single high look that would turn into a cover 2. They would have a couple guys in and out. They had this Tampa 2 at times, whatever. They had the linebacker kind of carry the guy down the middle of the field. They did a good job of disguising until the final drive. Mm-hmm. Texans went back into their shell, I guess, and no pun intended, back into their shell because it's a shell defense. They went to a cover 2, and they stuck to it the whole time.
It's 2-minute defense.
And Dak Prescott picked it apart.
That's why it's easier to work down the field in a 2-minute drill than any other portion of the game because defenses are playing it safe. There's a bend but don't break type of mentality. And most defensive coordinators revert back to that. But to your point, in terms of the coverages that they're running, every team's going to disguise coverages. Some are going to do it better than others. Lovie Smith is Lovie Smith. He's been around for a long time.
He had that game plan ready to roll.
Absolutely. And other teams are going to watch this film. But even with those disguises, Dak Prescott just wasn't on his game. And I'm not going to sit up here and belittle him. Or he had a bad game. He had a bad game. And everybody has a bad game.
That's fair.
He's had multiple. He has had multiple, and that's where my concern is.
You can't let it compound into something bigger. I don't know. Is it just because of expectation on Dak?
No, I don't put any pressure on Dak
because the numbers are there, and I know you're not a numbers guy
at
all. But the numbers from an offensive standpoint, there is a significant difference with Dak Prescott at quarterback than it was without Dak Prescott.
And it's supposed to be.
Sure.
And it's supposed to be because there's levels to this. Right? There's levels to everything that in every aspect, everything that you do in this life, there's levels to it. Dak Prescott is supposed to be a top 32 quarterback. Just period. Right?
And
he's higher than him. He's higher than him. Yeah. But
top 10
in the world. He's the top 32 quarterback in the world.
Sure.
Okay, that's facts. Okay, now you can go up there and have discussion, debates in terms of how high up he goes.
Yeah.
But the reality is, what they were doing yesterday was not disguised enough, right, to cause him complications. There were routes in there that were ran well, and there was just bad balls. Whether it's velocity, whether it's location. I talked about it many times on here before. Left shoulder versus right shoulder. When I'm running a route to my left side, when I'm running a slant route to my left, I want the ball on my upfield shoulder, or I want it right on my body. I can't put it on my back shoulder. It doesn't matter if it's lofted in there. It doesn't matter if it's gunned in there. That's no different than throwing a running back a ball in the flat. You don't throw the running back a ball in the flat, a freaking bullet most of the time, because usually know your personnel. They can't handle it, right? Luckily, you had a Tony Pollard out there because he came to his swing routes out late a few times yesterday.
Real late on the touchdown.
Right, on the touchdown. It just happens to be a TP out there. Yeah. So those are the things that I'm talking about that get kind of covered up and muddied up because not that much attention is paid to it because the result of the play was awesome. Right, but my analytic mind and my eyes, I see it. I'm like, what I say when we're watching the game, I say he came to that late.
In the middle of the play.
In the middle of the play, I said the ball should have been out.
Missed him, and then he got him, and then he worked inside.
TP just did TP things.
Sure.
Right, but you start thinking about some of these other teams and some of the other personnel that these teams have. All I saw on that play was Reggie Bush. I saw the Reggie Bush play when he was playing for the Saints. He got got decapitated, right? Folded in half. Those type of plays can happen. I'm not going to say will happen. They can happen, and those are game-changing plays because you're just saying, oh, my guy can do this, or, oh, I don't have to focus on the details of this particular play or my mechanics. Got to tighten it up.
Yeah, I agree. Again, we are all in agreement. Yeah. Dak Prescott had a bad game yesterday. Yeah. I would say the good news is it's a week-to-week league. So last week they blow the doors off the Colts. This week they barely escape the upset over the Texans, and now you move to Jacksonville now, and we'll preview Jacksonville later in the week, but Jacksonville is better than the Texans. Yeah. So you better clean up.
Actually, one of the hotter teams in the NFL right now.
You better clean up what you need to clean up this week as you prepare for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But, again, it's another bad – I say another bad because for me, I still harken back to week one. Week one was just – abysmal. And again, I've said it before, week one to me was the worst outing in Dak Prescott's career. So was this as bad as that? No, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't bad. I mean, this was still a struggle game for Dak that was able to be deleted by Dak, thankfully, once he got the protection on the right side, and then the confidence and the clutch meter kind of just went through the roof and marched those boys down 98 yards. But prior to that happening, you have flashes. You saw the 50-plus yarder to Noah Brown and, made some big plays and get big catches by CeeDee Lamb. But more often than not, you found yourself asking yourself during the game, what's going on with this Cowboys passing attack? This isn't the same one we saw against the Colts. This isn't the same one that we saw against the Vikings, et cetera, et cetera. So that tells you that they can do better. Just do it. On a consistent basis, because if this isn't the Texans and you have this outing, you lose this game.
There were a lot of struggles up front too for the Cowboys offensive line, and it wasn't just the right side with Josh Ball. Tyler Smith didn't have a good game. Connor McGovern didn't have a good game. Tyler Biadasz was decent, and then Zach Martin. He's perfect.
But it certainly got worse once Terrence went down,
and it absolutely did. Josh Ball struggled. Now,
struggled is a nice way to put
bold statement here. He was serviceable in the first two drives that he was in. Serviceable. But then it just fell off. Wheels fell off completely.
Right off the cliff.
And it was not good. But we'll talk more about the offensive line a little bit later on. I want to switch the focus to the defense. Just how Houston didn't disguise coverages, something that kind of helped keep things off balance for the Cowboys offense early. They made another change in the fourth quarter that just leaves me mind-boggled. And I'll bring that up in a moment. That might have helped Dallas win the ball game. We'll be right back with more Talkin Cowboys right after this.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Little Sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's on something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Todd
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Are you ready to take coffee off your grocery list forever? Black Rifle Coffee Club is here to help. As a coffee club member, you'll get your favorite coffees roasted, packaged, and shipped to your door free of charge on your preferred schedule. Set it, forget it, and never run low on coffee again. Members also get exclusive deals on coffee, products, and discounts from partner brands. Ease your mind and let Black Rifle worry about your coffee supply. Go to blackriflecoffee.com to join the coffee club today.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, here from the Star in Frisco. Glad you're with us. Isaiah Stanback, Patrick No C. Walker, Chris Beam running it all in the back. Gives us an opportunity to give you some information about holiday camps. 'Tis the season for Dallas Cowboys holiday youth camps presented by Invisalign. Registration for one-day football and dance academy camps are now open. Don't miss your chance to send your athlete to camp at AT&T Stadium on December 20th and 21st. Limited spaces remain. You can register right now at dallascowboys.com/academy. You may even get to meet Danny McCray, reality TV star who's running those camps.
Shouts out to Danny.
Yeah, he's going to be out there at AT&T Stadium. Should be fun to watch. And send the kiddos, too, if you haven't already. All right,
do it.
Let's focus on the defensive side of the football. First game all year that Dallas had been held without a sack. Credit to Houston. They did a good job up front. There were a couple times when Kenyon Green struggled against notably Osa Odigizua. Osa Odigizua had a great game. I thought the coverage was solid, but you're also going up against Chris Moore and not going up. He had a day. He was pretty much the only guy that had a day.
Osa almost had a walk-off.
Yeah.
I mean, Moore had 10 receptions for 124 yards.
That's a freaking day.
Yes, it is. But nobody else really did anything other than maybe Amari Rodgers, who had the touchdown grab.
Rodgers had key possession grabs.
Yeah. Sure.
That extended drives.
But for the most part, Kelvin was solid. Deron Bland was about as good as he has been. And then Trayvon Diggs, battling injury, was good at times too. But I want to talk about the pass rush for a second. Mm-hmm. What did they do differently in this game, Isaiah, that kept Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong out of the backfield? Because no other team has been able to do that yet.
They got the ball out their hands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were effective in getting the ball out their hands quickly. They weren't trying to hold on to it. They kept mixing the quarterbacks up in terms of running the ball as well. They didn't just allow you to key in on Pierce, even though I think that he ended up getting knocked out the game, right? But I think they ran the ball effectively, and then they just ran quick game. They weren't going to sit back there all day long and hold it. They weren't going to give Dallas opportunity. That's why I think the Texans had a really good freaking game plan, a really good game plan, and I'm a little concerned.
Well, here's why I'm not concerned in the realm of the pass rush. And, I said it during the game, and I tweeted it as much. I said, a zero-sack game, this is weird to watch from the Cowboys. But then I started thinking about it on the drive home, and I'm like, what happened? I went back and I looked at the All-22 wasn't up yet, so I looked at the condensed version of the game. It was kind of just scheming over it. Mm-hmm. And Isaiah's right. So point number one, they got that ball out quickly. Mm-hmm. But that two-quarterback, that back and forth, you can't time your cadence. Like, you can't get the cadence timing for that if you're the defensive lineman. And that's your get-off is a large reason that you'll get pressures and you'll get disruptions and you'll hopefully get sacks. So when you have a team it's Davis Mills right now, but the next play, it's Driscoll. Then the next play, it's Davis Mills. And the next play is Driscoll. Okay, well, the Texans prepared for that all week and going into this game. But if you're the Cowboys, you're like, okay, what's Driscoll's cadence? And then you're trying to, okay, I think I got Driscoll's. And then here comes Davis Mills. And you're like, oh crap. So I think Isaiah makes a great point. Go back and look at the game. They absolutely were getting that ball out as quickly as possible. And Pierce was doing his thing for the most part before he went down to injury. But again, a large part of it was just the subterfuge of constantly swapping out quarterbacks. I think that those two different cadences on a play-to-play basis really just wrecked what the Cowboys pass rush wanted to do.
That was a big word. What was that word?
Subterfuge.
What does that even mean?
Misdirection. Misdirection.
I don't think use that.
Get you looking over here.
Can you write that down? Can you spell it?
S-U-B, subter, T-E-R-F-U-G-E.
Huh.
Subterfuge. Get you looking
Never
left.
heard that one.
Get you looking left, and then here comes the right. And then now you're looking right, and here comes the left.
Does that throw guys off that much to have two different guys at quarterback and kind of have
every
that
other
cadence?
play?
I mean,
Yes.
it was all over. Yeah.
Yes.
I even charted it for a little bit. First half, where's it at? First half, Mills had 10 pass plays, 6 run plays. Driscoll, however, had 15 run plays and 4 pass plays while he was in the ball game. Isn't that just a dead giveaway of whenever Driscoll, you see 6 in the backfield? Yeah, he had the 4 pass plays. But for the most part, you're running the football.
Yeah.
How do you not key in on that as a defense?
But they're running zone read too, so that's the thing that keeps you at bay.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's giving Dallas issues, right? We talk about the RPO. RPO, has caused issues for Dallas in the past. This is really not that much different. The defensive ends have to stop. They have to read the quarterback, and that's the reason why the Texans did this. They watched the film. They've seen the teams that Dallas has struggled against. They've seen, the Philadelphia Eagles, how they pretty much just neutralize the defense with the pass rush of these guys as well. It just is what it is, man. Like I said, everything that we say, every topic that we address, it goes back to them having a heck of a game plan.
Oh, yeah.
And they executed it, too.
They executed it, too. They just didn't have enough players to execute it at the level to beat Dallas. But
to finish it.
But this will be copied.
There were only
this will
Are
be
you
copied.
are you calling this the blueprint? Are you calling this the blueprint
I'm
game?
saying that the blueprint has been laid out in previous games, and Lovey put it all together.
There were still a couple of guys on the defensive line that the Texans had no answer for, be it the run or the pass. So in the passing game, Osa was having himself a day. You go back and watch the film, and he almost had the walk-off sack if that false start didn't delete that.
Yeah.
Tank in the run game, we talk about what he did to Burkhead. You saw him back there getting hands on Pierce. Tank affected the game in a massive way as well. You would have obviously liked to see more from your generational game record and Michael Parsons. You didn't. But
Laramie Tunsil was who he went up against quite often.
Yeah.
Why didn't they flip him around more often?
I don't have an answer for that.
That's my thing, because he went up against Tunsil a lot, and give Laramie Tunsil a ton of credit.
Tunsil is Tunsil.
He's great. I mean, he's one of the best tackles in the league. And Micah Parsons was head up on Tunsil for quite some time, and they didn't flip him to the opposite side.
And I mean, it could.
Maybe he didn't want it.
Wasn't a whole lot of stunts either.
It could have been because Tank was, we just said, Tank was affecting the game on the left side. So don't really want to disrupt that to try to get Micah going. But I mean, this is a great question. Great question. We'll ask DQ this afternoon.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're gonna make
let's ask DQ this afternoon.
All right. With that being said, I felt like we went back to where we were the past 3 weeks of taking a lethal running back in Dameon Pierce and at least neutralizing him. He was physical. He had some big runs, but for the most part, he was limited in terms of the numbers that he could come to at the end of the game. What did you think about the way they handled the run?
About what you can expect from him.
Yeah.
He's a dominant running back. I don't care what anybody says. He's on a terrible team, obviously, but he's a heck of a running back. And, he got, 78 yards? Something like that?
78 and one tutty.
Yeah, 78 and one tutty. He was physical. He was what you thought he would be, and I think he got a little bit banged up there. But, I mean, there's no other options for them. I mean, they obviously had a receiver that went out there and had a day, but there's not a ton of options. My concern isn't with these teams that have just one guy that can beat you up, and you do a good job of keeping him under 100 yards. Again, all my thought process always goes to the games that are 1 and out, the playoffs. And if you face a team that has the ability to have a guy run 80, 100 yards, oh, and by the way, there's 3 other receivers out there in tight end. Now, all of a sudden, that presents a problem because you can't just key in on that one aspect of the game. When you're playing the Texans, you can key in on that one aspect of the game because you're really not that concerned about other people hurting you. There's one receiver that went off. Okay, cool. But there are going to be teams that you face when those games matter, and they're going to have 2 to 3 threats on the outside, plus a running back that can hurt you or a quarterback.
Well, I'll say this for Dameon Pierce, and he affected the game as well. But the Cowboys did do a pretty good job, all things considered, of bottling him up. And I'd be remiss if I said that and didn't make the point of LVE. Leighton Vander Esch played out of his mind yesterday. 14 combined tackles, 9 solo. He had 3 more solo tackles than the second most tally on the team, which was Deron Bland, who had a good game as well. LVE was all over the place. He was decisive in filling the gaps, attacking those holes.
He was fantastic. yesterday.
Fantastic. So between him helping to set the edge, Pierce did get off a couple times on the edge. But if you noticed, Pierce didn't really gain a lot of success in those A and B gaps until Jonathan Hankins went down with injury. When Hankins went down with injury, suddenly you saw 3-4 consecutive run plays into those gaps. And that also shows you the value of Jonathan Hankins. So hopefully Hankins is good to go. Sounds like it's a shoulder/pec issue. We'll know more here in the next day or so. Maybe Mike McCarthy will have some insight this afternoon. But all things considered, between how LVE played and Hankins when he was on the field and DeMarcus Lawrence being magnificent against the run, it's, like you said, Kyle, it's yet another game in which they at least bottled up a dynamic running back. So it looks like the run defense is healed, but you got some secondary issues as far as your cornerbacks are concerned, outside of Trevon Diggs and Deron Bland.
What were you going to say?
What I have to say is not in regards to defense, so I'll hold it.
Oh, hold it for just a second, because I've got a bold statement.
I got a bold statement too.
Okay, let's finish on some bold statements, and then we'll give some helmet stickers in the next segment. So, all right, you mentioned how Dameon Pierce left the game, right? He injured an ankle early in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. He came back. Mm-hmm. He played with 10:50 to go in the ball game. Took a third down and 2 carry. And he punched it up the middle. Looked fine. He was actually in the formation up the middle.
Up the middle.
He was in the formation 3 plays in a row. Bang, bang, bang. And he was fine. Mm-hmm. So he was absent at the end of the game in a goal line stand. Lovie Smith after the game said that if he was healthy enough to go, he would have been in the plans inside the 5-yard line on the goal line stand. I don't buy it. I think they held him out. I think they held him out in the goal line stand.
You think?
I think so.
Is it the T word?
I think they held him out.
So
that's a bold statement. I have nothing of concrete to put that on.
It's an accusation there, Kyle.
I'm just I don't buy it.
I will say this.
I'm going to take it. I'm okay with it.
I said this after the game offline to a colleague. I said, I wonder if that was the perfect game for the Texans. Because they were very competitive and almost landed the biggest upset of the season, but they still remain number 1 in the draft seeding. So you did exactly what you needed to do as a head coach and say, hey, I can make these guys compete with anybody.
Yeah.
But I did it without losing my overall pick.
I think it was a
perfect game for the Texans.
Coincidence, and if there's smoke, sometimes there's fire, maybe not. Who knows? Yeah. But they didn't change. They changed their entire game plan defensively in the back half of the fourth quarter on the 98-yard drive, and then they all of a sudden didn't have their best running back on the field in a goal line situation. Whenever he played after he was injured, he came back into the ball game and he played. Yeah. If he hadn't have done that, then I would say, okay, maybe he got hurt.
Well, the Texans are doing what the Texans are doing. But can I make a bold statement?
Yeah, now it's your turn.
I need everybody to go back.
Going back.
For everybody who was arguing with me about whether or not Tyler Smith should be bumped down to the left guard position when Tyron Smith comes back, go watch the first series of the second quarter.
Oh.
Just watch that series and you decide.
If Tyler's ready to roll.
If he's ready to be the left guard, the starting left guard, you watch. Let's go to break on that one.
I'd say you have other sample sizes of him at left guard this season as well. Put it all in the pot, not just that sample.
I'm talking about the whole series. I will not say, a play, the whole series.
No, I get what you're saying.
I know I rode the fence last year, but I'm going to ride the fence, or last week. I'm going to ride the fence again right now because just as there was bad tape for Tyler Smith, there was also some bad tape from Connor McGovern too.
Yes, there was.
It was both. I even looked at it.
We have a lot of good tape of McGovern at left guard.
Sure.
We have,
including this game, he made plays.
We have maybe a sample size of good tape of Tyler Smith at left guard.
Are you talking about this is where he's at left guard and Peters?
This is when Peters is the left tackle in this game against the Texans, and they put Tyler Smith at left guard. Watch that series. Yeah. The series, not the play. The series. Jesus.
And then add it to the other samples.
Go ahead.
And also without
and then make your educated.
Think about it this way too. This may be a conversation for tomorrow, but Terrence Steele, if he's unavailable for the rest of the season, which it looks like that might be a concern at the moment, still nothing concrete on that either. However, if he's not available, would you rather have a backup left guard in Connor McGovern sitting on the sideline, or would you rather have a backup swing tackle for if Tyron Smith or Jason Peters goes down?
The conversation is different now. Yeah,
it's completely different.
Yeah, it's different now. Yeah, so scrap everything we talked about last week because if Terrence Steele misses time,
come in my boat.
Well,
plenty of room.
Yeah. Well, your boat is in a different lake now, right? It's not. It's not
lake
I went from Lake Washington to Lake Louisville. Okay, that's fine.
He's got one of those flying planes.
Exactly.
All right, let's do some helmet stickers on the other side of the break. We'll be right back with more Talkin' Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
Lil Sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Lil Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's on something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin' Cowboys. Don't miss your last chance to experience the most electrifying event of the holiday season, Cowboys Christmas Extravaganza, powered by Reliant. Every Friday and Saturday night through December 17th, Christmas Extravaganza ignites the Star in Frisco with an unforgettable holiday experience showcasing the world-renowned Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, your favorite Dallas Cowboys football heroes, and Santa Claus too. Visit thestardistrict.com/Christmas for more info. Out here at the Star in Frisco, last couple weeks of that one coming up. Should be a whole lot of fun. Santa Claus is out here. Have you gotten to see Santa yet? Isaiah, you got a chance to go out and see Santa yet?
No, I have not seen any Santas yet.
Okay, we'll make it work. We'll arrange something.
You didn't go so you could ask for your red rifle.
Whoa,
Red Rider. Wow,
Black Rifle Coffee.
Yeah, need that.
Is that what you need?
Yeah. Anyway, you shoot your
the Red Rider BB gun.
That's what it was. It's too many R's, man.
I bought my son that last year.
Too many R's. Did you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Fire.
You shoot your eye out, kid.
Fire.
I bought him the wrong size, though.
Yeah.
Alliteration this
early in the morning is no one's friend.
It is okay, my friend.
Red Rider.
Now you guys know whenever I stumble over my words and I just can't handle the topic of conversation this early in the morning. Yeah. It's a problem.
Yeah. It's alliteration.
Let's do some helmet stickers. Patrick, get us started.
All right. I'm going with the tomato. As you can see here, ladies and gentlemen.
Tomato.
Tomato. And tomatoes are a fruit, by the way, not a vegetable. My tomato goes to one Jason Peters. Why a tomato? Because you need tomatoes to make ketchup. And Jason Peters wasted no time catching up on playing right tackle at a high level yesterday after having not taken snaps at that position since 2005. A 15-year gap between taking snaps, and he stepped in with the game on the line.
Give it to me, coach.
And showed you why he's a gold jacket. So
Bars.
Tomato, because it took no time for Jason Peters to catch up.
I liked it. Bars, which is really funny because for those that know that we all know you absolutely hate ketchup. You despise ketchup.
That's a fact.
But you just made a ketchup
Jason
reference.
Peters made me like it for a day.
Okay. You want to go next? Or you want me to go next?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you want to go? I'll let you go because I know who I'm picking, and then you may take them. Who knows?
No, I'm not going to take them. You guys see this right here?
That's some bananas.
That's some bananas. You know,
Barry Church loves the.
There was one player on the field that hit everybody with the old banana in the tailpipe. And they did it in bunches. That goes to Mr. Dalton Schultz. He had his best game of the year. 6 catches, 87 yards. He showed back up. Just when you thought he had disappeared, he brought his bananas.
I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Exactly. You got to say it with your chest, man. Hey, look, man, I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Yes, classic movie.
Beverly Hills
Cop.
Beverly Hills
The whole banana in the tailpipe. All right. This is a pineapple. He looks like he's leaping. He's jumping. Or maybe even flying. Leighton Vander Esch was flying around the defensive side of the football yesterday, and even at one point he leapt. Oh, I just stuck it to the table. No, I didn't. I saved it. Maybe. Got it back. We're good.
Recovered.
But yeah, he was.
Recovered the fumble.
He almost had a recovered fumble. But yeah, Leighton Vander Esch, he was flying around the football, leaping over piles at one point. He was trying. There was one on the goal line stand. It was the offsides call for Micah Parsons. He leapt over the top, and he was even trying to reach back, but he was all over the field. I mean, you talk about sideline to sideline. I really have been impressed with Leighton Vander Esch lately, so he earns the helmet sticker today.
Wolf howl.
All right, gentlemen, we've got a lot to talk about this week. We've got some injuries kind of starting to pile up a little bit, and some key situations as well. Injuries starting to really affect how this team is building heading into the postseason. And, of course, you got to get to the postseason first. Cowboys can get really close to clinching a postseason spot this week and, of course, keep tabs with the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC East race against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. But tomorrow, it's Talkin Tuesday. Give us a call, 888-855-2297. Ooh, just kidding. Chris Beam just got into my ear. We don't have a Talkin Tuesday tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
And I forgot. We're canceling podcast tomorrow.
For a good cause.
It is a good cause. We're going to be at the Salvation Army tomorrow. We're going to be helping all those in North Texas. It is a great cause. A little sad we don't get a Talkin Tuesday. Maybe we'll take some calls on Wednesday to make up for it. We want to make up for it a little bit.
We want to talk to the people.
I agree.
We want to talk to the people.
So we'll move it. We'll do Talkin Wednesday this week. But no show tomorrow. We'll be back on Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central Time right here on DallasCowboys.com. For Chris Beam, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Nosey Walker, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from Talkin Cowboys. We'll see you on Wednesday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.